Hey there, I'm going to be going over some sound design and editing skill sets in this video. I'm going to be using examples from a project I just finished working on to demonstrate these. I will leave timestamps in this video so you can just jump around to wherever you need to. Some of the clips later are going to peak, but that's just because I've never used a screen recording software before, so I didn't know it kind of raised the levels, and it doesn't have the capability to like capture the noise properly. So there are going to be some parts that peak later, but just trust on my end, everything sounded great. I just got the raw file, or just re-downloaded the raw file of what I got sent. So I'm going to show you my capability to like refurbish and fix damaged or poor audio. So let's open this up. Obviously, this is only about peaks at -12. So here I see it like this is like really high and should not be that high compared to everything else. I'll just highlight that and drop it down a little bit. And then I'll zoom back out. And so I'll buff everything up to about there. And then what I'm gonna do here is go to effects rack. So I'm gonna do a high pass with the compressor. So I see like roughly everything is kind of here-ish, but I just wanna cut off these high bits so I don't have to like do a limiting and squash out audio. So what I'm gonna do here, let's see, this is about -9. So I'm gonna bring the threshold down to -9. Do ratio about 4:1 because that is those peaks. And then we'll apply this. This cuts that down, and then I will raise it more. And then before I do anything else, let's go into here. And so you see all this muddiness here down these lower frequencies. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure there's nothing there that'll damage his vocal range performance. So there's nothing in there that's pure silence, just room noise. So I'm gonna capture the noise print of this blank section, go effects, noise reduction. And then since it's literally just the room tone, I don't need to do any tweaking. So I'm just gonna fully zap it out. So I captured that and I'm having this generate. So see how in this color, like warmth, I guess, color is decibel level. So now it's black. Before it was, you see all this color, and now here after I applied this, now there's nothing here. So we can play this and it's at -infinity here, right? And so let's see if this is audio that we need here.
Stop dead in my tracks. The quarterly inspection.
Okay, so when he's actually performing, he's about...
This bag is soaked in grease.
He's at about -21. So let's bring up another compressor. Let's go, yeah, -20, and let's do a ratio of 3:1 here, just to kind of see what that does. Okay, awesome. So
today,
we want the screaming to be louder than
this bag is soaked in grease.
Him talking to himself. So again, let's beef this up here. It's easier just to do that. So now we got some healthy waveforms here.
This bag is soaked in grease.
And that's reaching a healthy -7 dB.
Today?
And then that's reaching like -2 because he's yelling. Again, not peaking, but. And then normally I would stack these in the effect rack over here so that I make sure it all sounds right, but I just want to show what's happening to the wave file without while I'm doing it. So, and then we're going to EQ his voice because he does have some things in there that aren't necessarily what we want. I already have a preset made for this guy to clean out all the audio, but let's see, let's find a good bit. Turn this off.
Why would you do that? If they see the state the house is in, and why would you do?
Okay, and then I'm gonna activate it, and then let's see what it sounds like.
Do that if they see the state the house is in, and why would you do that if they see the state the house is in?
And then here, I think the scene just demonstrates being detail oriented. So, for instance, there's this, in this scene, a character's watching the news, and then it kind of fades into the background, but it still made an entire scene for the background. Even though it's like inaudible, I still crafted the entire scene just so it feels authentic and isn't jarring at all. So I'll let this play.
But there is no way my team and I, specifically I, could have done this without your help.
7 letters across. Starts with a V.
So he's doing a cross right here, but that doesn't matter. I think just like showing, and I'm also able to manipulate the audio to where it sounds like it's coming through like low quality television at this point.
Much as me, but in their defense, it is hard to. I mean, have you seen me? That I have, Mr. Mark.
And then another example is just here, like all the layers that you don't really think about, but that are needed to make the sound good, just for this one little explosion scene, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just for like 1 second.
Halfway home for supervillains as another explosion goes off, filling the house with light beams.
So what I have here is I have the room tone, I have the neon humming of the television, I have the dogs outside barking because the window's open, I have 3 sound effects layered to make the proper light explosion sound, and then I have the TV, all the TV set in the background as well.
Off. Filling the house with light beams.
And then also a rattling to shaking the house. This is another good example of being detail oriented. So here, one character's in their room painting and the other character is on the other side of the door. So I used a high cutoff filter to cut off the high end of their voice so that it sounds muffled like they're speaking through a door. So I'll just cut to here in the room painting.
Leave me alone!
Come on, Tora, it's me!
I said no!
And then here I have them whooshing out of a body, because it's a ghost that inhabits bodies, whooshing out of a body and then whooshing through the door, so you can hear the transition from having that, not having the high frequencies there to them coming in.
Come on, Tora, it's me!
I said no! God damn it, Carrie!
Okay, and then this is another example of being detail-oriented and creative. So for instance, just this one sequence right here, I think I have 32 clips, 32 layers in 23 seconds or something. So this isn't gonna make sense out of context, but pretty much one of the characters is a cyborg and his eye has been missing, and this dish is going to resurrect his eye in a way. So here, the antagonist always calls him by his government name, which is Eugene, but it goes by Electric Eye. So that's why this whole sequence is gonna happen. It's gonna sound weird out of context, but.
Sorry about this, Miss Gibbons. He can be a little shy sometimes. Go ahead and tell her, Eugene. 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 Eugene.
So for everything in this sequence, I'm panning it left to right, and I had to open it up into its own file and add like a lot of reverb and echo and yeah. And then it didn't really sound right without this music here because it was kind of flat. So I added this like ethereal sound here to kind of fill in the gaps.
Eugene. 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 Eugene.
Electric Eye takes a bite of the pie,
This is it without.
and his eye magically reappears in his head.
And so for this sound, what I did is I took the going into like the bullet time style. I took that from here. And then I reversed it to show that he's coming out of it very clearly.
His eye came back.
Also, for this whole project, we recorded separately because all the voice actors were from all around the world. So, you know, normally when you think of like audio for a video, even a lot of times I think a common misconception is you just stick a boom mic in front of it, in front of them, and then record what's happening, and then you slap that right in there. But behind the scenes there are a lot of like tweaking and ADR and all this other stuff going on. So for the entire, this is probably a 45-minute long finish, not the scene, but all of it. I had to take all the lines and combine them and like do all this and make sure the pacing was right to where it feels natural, like we were on the same room recording. So that was also a tricky thing to do. And then again here, you don't really think about like having to put footsteps in, but I did like a little bit of Foley work and have access to a sound library. So a lot of these, like, you don't really think about having to do these, but you have to go through and put them in, or else it just kind of feels like they're floating around.
Gladly.
So I'm going to be using this scene as an example of like pacing and artistic intent. And the context for this pretty much is this one guy sitting in his room reading, and the other guy comes in to try to convince him to help out, blah, blah, blah. I'll just let it go.
Billy reads by the window in his room.
God. This is preposterous. This Midsummer Night's Dream is incredibly inaccurate. Someone tell this Shakespeare fellow he's a hack. Ah!
Remember when you said you were able to do incredible things when you cooked?
That's because I'm naturally amazing.
Okay, don't you think you might have just a little bit more control of your abilities if you had a pan in one hand and a knife in the other?
A knife will make anyone feel in control, unless a gun is present.
Come on, it's not like you have anything to lose.
I will not help those ingrates.
But you'll go back to prison too. Surely you can't hate them that much.
One of them stole from me, and the other attempted to kill me.
Okay, but what about Carrion?
She'll be better off. In my time cohabitating with these barbarians, I have learned that they are incapable of considering the needs of others, chiefly the needs of myself. But I assume those of the Spectre as well.
You know who you sound like right now, but more flowery?
William Shakespeare?
Dick.
Get out.
But everyone is depending on...
Get out.
So what I like about this scene is like this, like, there's like a pregnant pause of like hesitation here from this first person. And also would like to say that like they kind of gave me 2 to 3 different takes, and then it was up to me to choose what sounded right and how to combine them right. So taking the best parts of their performances and combining them to get the best line out of them. So I think that's an important thing that you don't really think about as well.
Chiefly the needs of myself. But I assume those of the Spectre as well.
You know who you sound like right now, but more flowery?
William Shakespeare?
Dick.
Get out.
And then like this pregnant pause here with like the steps and the hesitation here before he leaves.
But everyone is depending on...
Get out.
And then here I raise the ticking again to fade into the next scene. And then also here, I think this is an important thing of like just like setting the tone. So here I have the grand Chopin Nocturne. I don't know how you say that. But so I cut 2 parts of the songs together so that it kind of climaxes properly. So if you like listen to like strictly the music, like let me turn this up a little bit. That's way too much.
Chiefly the needs of myself. But I assume those of the Spectre as well.
You know who you sound like right now, but...
It'll crescendo and then die off.
More flowery?
William Shakespeare?
Dick.
And then here's another skill set, which would be to like the ability to manipulate songs to fit the scene better if needed. Kind of going on more in that like that last scene, except way more chopped up and glued back together to fit the scene. So this is just the heartfelt scene between 2 characters. So I'll just let it play and then I'll show what it would have been like without it.
Chances are she cracked the 5th and 6th ribs. Possible bruising on the spleen.
That sounds bad.
I'm gonna lightly touch you and you tell me how much it hurts.
Only a little pain. How do you have all this medical know-how?
Back when I was appropriating bodies from morgues, I didn't really have many options. I had to learn how to stitch up bullet wounds, set casts for shattered bones that would never heal. All that patchwork necessary to go unnoticed as a shambling corpse.
So, you're self-taught?
You can put your shirt down. It's really easy to audit medical school when you're incorporeal. You seem mostly fine, which means you're very lucky. You should put an ice pack near your spleen to avoid swelling.
And then here, what I did was I found the same note in two different parts, and so I have the volume crescendo here as this is actually dying off, and then I fade this into the same note but playing louder, so it kind of creates like a swelling effect as this is more of one of the heartfelt scenes in the script.
Pack near your spleen to avoid swelling.
Thanks, Carrion.
You can call me Carrie.
All right. Carrie.
I came up with Carry On in the joint. Guess I'll have to practice my tough girl shtick again for when we get thrown back in the clink. A good villain name commands respect. People leave you alone. You should keep using it in front of the others.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't blame you.
And then here I took sections and I looped them properly to where it sounds pretty much seamless. And then the tone is more somber. I'll go back through after this is finished playing and I'll show you what it would have been like if I just let it run its course. And for the subject matter of what they're talking about, it was too like upbeat. So I try to find the minor notes and combine them to make this loop, and then, yeah.
You should keep using it in front of the others.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't blame you. I blame Dick.
Yeah, I just don't understand why he wants to shut us down. I mean, it's his job too.
Just between you and me, I heard his wife and kid died when Mr. Marvelous fought Duke Dynamo.
Duke Dynamo? You're sure?
So this is what it would have been like if I didn't do this. Too like heartfelt and sentimental when they're talking about like someone like dying.
I just don't understand why he wants to shut us down. I mean, it's his job too.
Just between you and me, I heard his wife and kid died when Mr. Marvelous fought Duke Dynamo.
See, it's just like way, just doesn't make sense there. So instead, doing this.
I just don't understand why he wants to shut us down. I mean, it's his job too.
Just more somber and fits the mood better. And then this is an example of just sticking to the script because it is important to honor and try to do your best to bring to life the writer's or whoever's initial vision.
So, did we pass?
Outside of an extreme lack of structure, everything seemed to meet the minimum threshold needed.
Is that a yes?
Yes, technically.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
I feel obliged to warn you that the administration doesn't share your optimism. The pilot program is coming to an end in just perhaps...
So either way, I added like a little bit of flourishes from the voice actor here and there just because this scene is so ba-ba, A-B, that I kind of just like needed a little bit of something to fill it out. And then I think, especially when you're working with a team, being organized and so everyone can find out everything is quickly and just to streamline workflow, I think it is very important to be organized as a individual. So here I have all the sound effects and even all these are into separate files here. And then even within those, there's more files. And then for here, I have each scene segmented out so that you can quickly, and I made sure that they're all next to each other so you can quickly bounce to and fro. And then I have all the characters here, and this is all their lines. So like for instance here, I had this guy redo a few lines because he had some technical difficulties, but directed session, and then I have all this, and then yeah, old mic, blah, 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 just in case I need to pull anything from there. So I'm collaborating with like roughly 15 people on this project, and that's pretty big. And I'm kind of like directing and kind of made the whole thing from scratch. So I did like the casting, the directing, the audio engineering and design, and I'm going to be delivering the final product as well.